Telecast presents Major League Baseball. Today live from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it's the Orioles versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Fred Manfra, along with Cy Young winner Mike Flanagan. Today is a split squad day for the Orioles, and the mystery of the Orioles pitching staff may become unraveled just a little bit by the end of the day. Calvin Maduro will pitch in Jupiter today, and Mike, it's Jose Mercedes here against the Dodgers.
Well, certainly Mike Hargrove had his choice of which game to attend today. He could have went up to Jupiter and watched Maduro pitch, but he decided to stay here and watch young Jose Mercedes try to make this ball club, and he's trying to make it as the fifth starter, pushing Calvin Maduro for that spot.
So the mystery may be solved a bit by the end of the day here in Florida. HDS coverage of Orioles baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Log on for low fares at www.southwest.com. A symbol of e-freedom. By Toyota. Test drive Tundra. Today's new full-size truck at your Toyota dealer. Better values every day. It'll be the Orioles versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. Oral Hershiser on the hill for Davy Johnson's ball club. We'll be back to Fort Lauderdale after this. Well, the Dodgers have made the journey down from Vero Beach to Fort Lauderdale. Here's their lineup. Young man born in Washington, now living in Davidsonville, Maryland. Kevin Gibbs will be the DH. He's a switch hitter. F.B. Santangelo in center field. Mark Grudzielanek at second base. Todd Hollinsworth, the left fielder. Geronimo Barroa, one-time Oriole in right field. Adrian Beltre at third base. Chris Donnell's the first baseman. Paul Loduca, the catcher. And Kevin Elster. Yeah, that's right. Kevin Elster's back. He is the shortstop, batting ninth. Defensively for the Orioles, remember, a split squad day today. Other half of the squad up in Jupiter, Florida. Behind the plate is Willie Morales. He'll be doing the catching. Calvin Pickering at first. Delino DeShields, the second baseman. Mike Bordick at short. Cal Ripken is at third base. In left field, B.J. Surhoff. Wayne Kirby in center field. And Rich Amaral is the right fielder. And on the mound for the Orioles today, a guy, as we talked about in the opening, Mike, trying to make this ball club, maybe is the number 5 starter, Jose Mercedes.
And Mercedes was unscored upon until just his last outing, pitching relief late in that game. Gave up 4 runs in the 10th, but really was not all his fault. Defense really let him down, but 9-year major league veteran and pushing again Calvin Maduro very hard for that 5th spot.
Now this is the second season back from rotator cuff surgery for him, and that's usually the time when the strength is back.
Right. The first year is really recovery time and building that arm string back, and they felt he came back a long way in winter ball where he went 5-1.
Now that's what the Orioles expect to have going north in their starting rotation. And you see there the slash between Mercedes and Maduro. Maduro pitching up against the Cardinals in Jupiter today, so he'll get his innings in.
Well, and the big question is Calvin Maduro out of options, and they feel if they would try to get Maduro through waivers, he probably would not clear. Some other major league club would pick him up, so a lot more at stake than even maybe the outing of Maduro today, but just a question of you feel like you could lose him.
Kevin Gibbs at the plate. He takes the first pitch for a strike. Gibbs, a switch hitter, batting the left side, the DH for Davy Johnson today. And that one misses. And then Mercedes, through this spring, has had the ability to get ahead of the hitters, and that is key for any pitcher.
He's been nothing short of terrific. Very quiet, unassuming young man. 29 years of age. He does have, again, 9 years of major league service, so he's a veteran, even though he's relatively new to us.
Yes, he was with the Orioles system initially, then went to Milwaukee Brewers.
That's right, and that's where he had his most success. Probably 1997. He had 23 starts for the Brewers.
Well, that's the shortstop, Bordick, shading the eyes and battling the sun, but Bordick hangs in there and makes the catch.
2 familiar features here in Fort Lauderdale, I guess, and everywhere in the Grapefruit League: the wind and the sun.
And that breeze coming in from center field and the sun coming into play.
You just watch the sun reflect off those glasses.
Kind of angled in from the side.
You try to play it off to the side, not look directly into it.
F.B. Santangelo will step in now. Santangelo, of course, made his first mark in the big leagues with the Montreal Expos with San Francisco last year. Now trying to hook on with the Dodgers. Belt buckle fastball for a strike. Mercedes, this is his 8th game this spring. He's 0-1, but that 2.08 ERA stands out. He's He's ahead 0-2 to Santangelo. Carlos Bernhardt, who is the Orioles scout, former Oriole first base coach, the Orioles scout down in the Dominican, watched Mercedes pitch all winter. He had a great winter league down there, and he said he was throwing everything for strikes, every pitch, and it was just a miraculous turnabout following that surgery.
Well, he's on that recommendation that the Orioles signed Mercedes. A little Christmas bonus around, I think, December 22nd. Mercedes signed a contract as a minor league free agent with the Orioles.
Mercedes 6'1", 180 pounds, 29 years old. Weak pop up, foul side, third base. 2 gone as Cal puts it away. And now another former Expo, Mark Grudzielanek, will stand in. Grudzielanek last year with the Dodgers hit .326. Good year in the average. 7 home runs, 46 runs driven in. So far this spring in 41 at bats, 14 hits, no home runs, 1 run driven in.
He's always had the reputation as a good offensive player. Has struggled with the glove at times. The 201 hits one year for the Expos, and also another year he is tied with Alex Rodriguez for the most doubles ever in a season, 54. So he's a line drive gap hitter.
That's going to be pushed foul and out of play toward the Oriole bullpen.
I think he made the distinction of having the longest last name in the major leagues. I think it's 13 letters. I didn't take time to count.
You know, it's interesting how when you do ball games, you always say former Expo. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
There's a former Oriole, Davey Johnson. Davey trying to get things together after a rough year last year. Very easy inning for Jose Mercedes. 1-2-3, top of the first. We head to the bottom of the inning here at Fort Lauderdale. Orioles coming to bat, no score. Back here in Fort Lauderdale, Delino DeShields will lead off for the Orioles. Delino leading the Orioles in the RBI department, and the hits so far down here in spring training. Mike Bordick at shortstop, B.J. Surhoff for a second consecutive game back in left field. Harold Baines batting cleanup, the DH. Cal Ripken at third. Calvin Pickering is at first base. Will Clark up in Jupiter with the other group of Orioles. Rich Amaral in right field. Wayne Kirby, the center fielder, and Willie Morales is behind the plate catching. Delino DeShields will be the guy to go against Oral Hershiser. That's a very familiar name, Mike.
Now back with the Dodgers for the second tour of duty. Now 41 years of age. Of course, made his mark with the Dodgers at the beginning of his career. Third active in wins, most wins behind Roger Clemens and Greg Maddux. Went over the 200 mark last year. Has 203 major league wins.
He gets the first one into Delino for strike one. We're underway in the bottom of the first, scoreless ball game. Hershiser is not allowed an earned run over his last 8 innings of work here in Florida. 1-1 strike to DeShields. Hershiser without a decision, but with a very good 2.40 ERA. Last year, of course, pitched for the Mets, went 13-12. He's been with the Dodgers. This is his second go-round with Los Angeles, the Giants, the Indians, and, of course, last year with New York. Hershiser feels the position well, throws to first, and Delino's gone after trying to bunt his way on. Let's take a look defensively at Davey Johnson's Dodger ball club. Of course, there's the pitcher, Hershiser. Loduca behind the plate catching. Chris Donald's at first base. Grudzielanek, the second baseman. Kevin Elster, the shortstop. Adrian Beltre at third. Todd Hollinsworth, the left fielder. F.P. Santangelo in center field. And, of course, Geronimo Baroa, the chief, is the right fielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Like we mentioned, the Dodgers record 7-16-1. A very disappointing start, but over their last 10 games, they're 5-4-1, so things may be getting a little bit better for them. Elster has one shortstop hits to the other, 2 gone. So Bordick on the first pitch grounds out to short. Over the years, when you watch the Bulldog, as his nickname is, even when he doesn't have his good stuff, he battles you, and that's how he got the name Bulldog. That's right, and he still keeps coming at you. And we actually watched him warm up for this game. It appeared he had a difficult time getting loose. See him doing a lot of stretching. Was very wild in the pen. This sort of a coolish day for what we've experienced so far in Florida was very wild. Surhoff takes ball 1. And, of course, he's not the overpowering type of pitcher. Depends on location and sink. That's it.
Was obviously a power pitcher, as most are when they first come up, until the mileage of innings pitched erodes some of that ability. He had major shoulder surgery in 1988. But a tremendous season for the Dodgers going back to the late 80s. Major league record for consecutive scoreless innings at 59, broke Don Drysdale's record through 5 straight shutouts through that period. Pretty incredible. Carried on at the postseason, and he was the first player in a long time to both win the MVP of the NLCS and the World Series.
The left fielder Hollinsworth catches up with that hard line shot to left center. Orioles go 3 up, 3 down. Top of the second, we head in Florida. Orioles nothing, Dodgers nothing. That was an easy first inning for both Jose Mercedes of the Orioles and Orel Hershiser for the Dodgers. So we're scoreless going to the top of the second. Last year, Mike, a similar story for both the Dodgers and the Orioles. High payroll, low results.
Yeah, no question. You look at the numbers, a very disappointing year for the Dodgers. Of course, we know how long a season last year seemed for the Orioles. So the Dodgers going through the same kind of miseries last year. Actually, the Orioles finished the game better. But there's a shot of Davey Johnson on his right, Rick Dempsey, and on Dempsey's right, Rick Down. So tremendous Oriole connection with the Dodgers.
First pitch to Hollinsworth is a strike call. And of course, Kevin Malone, former assistant general manager of the Orioles, the general manager of the Dodgers. Kevin Brown, the man of the big money contract, one-time Oriole. He's the ace of the Dodgers staff.
John Shelby, first base coach.
Nice play by the shortstop Mike Bordich for the first out here in the top of the second. Alan Mills. Millsy is out working out of the bullpen for Davey Johnson. And here's another former Oriole, Geronimo Berroa.
They're everywhere.
Berroa, of course, last year has just suffered through a season that was injury after injury. Started with the Toronto Blue Jays, hit just 194, played in 22 games, and then the injuries took over and really never found himself. Now trying to find a spot with the Dodgers.
Well, Davey Johnson has that long baseball memory. He remembers some production that Berroa gave him back in the late 90s. Give him a chance, much like he's done with Kevin Elster, who appears today will make the club after really being out of baseball last year.
Yeah, last year Elster was ready to open up a restaurant in Las Vegas. He sat out the entire season. There's a base hit for Berroa. There's a guy that could always hit.
No question. There's a position on the field, really a born DH.
Yeah, we remember the adventures in right field at Camden Yards.
And in his defense, he always gave it his best effort, and he's just not a skilled outfielder. He came up as a catcher originally with the Blue Jays way back when.
Just made his mark mostly with the Oakland Athletics.
Had a couple of big years for the Athletics.
You know, Beltre will stand in. There's a young man that was embroiled in controversy for quite a while over the winter months. What would happen because the Dodgers had signed him before the legal age to sign a player, ultimately signing a long-term deal with Los Angeles.
Yeah, I guess general manager Kevin Malone a little hot water out there. They had signed, I think Beltran as a 15-year-old
instead of 16.
But give him anything, they knew a pretty good judge of talent, because Beltran's a good young player. I think he's just 21 years old now.
Inside corner for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Berroa the runner at first base. And that's T-Bone Shelby, the first base coach, going over to talk to him. Backing away is T-Bone, and you see big Calvin Pickering. And those Baltimore lines with the Dodgers. Pitch down and away, 2-1. So Jose Mercedes will be followed by Rafael Pena and Tim Worrell. At least that's what we understand this afternoon. Hope to keep up with what's going on in Jupiter as the Orioles' other squad plays the St. Louis Cardinals this afternoon. Calvin Maduro starting in that ball game. Back 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Beltran had some pretty big numbers. He will not turn 21 years of age till April 7th. Hit 275, 15 home runs, 75 RBIs. Made a lot of errors last season. Has worked hard on to improve that. 29 errors at third base, but most of them early.
So that helped Davey Johnson's hair turn a little bit more gray around the temple.
Well, he's used to the good Oriole defense that he always could count on the pass, and that was really the weak link for the Dodgers. And Doesn't sound like a whole lot saying we had poor defense, but what it does is cause your pitching staff to try to strike people out as opposed to letting it be put in play.
You know, you look back at the Dodgers and I think of Jose Offerman. He had Tommy Lasorda climbing walls with errors when he played there. Now Offerman's not a bad ball player with the Boston Red Sox. Broken bat down the left side. That's in. It's going to be trouble. Baroa will stop at third, is hustling it down as B.J. Surhoff. In at second base is Beltre with a double, so runners at second and third, one down, and Chris Donalds will come up. Chris, when you get a look at him, you'll see the number he's wearing, so that kind of indicates where he fits in the Dodger plans this year.
Pretty good bet by Beltre to try to come inside. Mercedes gets it in a pretty good spot, breaks his bat, but the strength of Beltran able to get it down that left field line in a hurry.
So he's at second base. Baroa is at third. One down, scoreless, top of the second inning. And Chris Donalds, a one-time property of the New York Mets, stands in, and you see that number 93.
You also see first at bat this spring.
Ball one. In fact, Bill Stetka, the Orioles public relations director, when we saw the name in the lineup, we looked in the press guide, we looked at the baseball register, had a call over to the Dodgers to find out who it was, whether it in fact was Chris Donalds, and they said yes it is. They didn't give us any history on how he signed with the Dodgers. 1-1.
See the good fastball exhibited by Mercedes. The pitch that he has added that I did not remember is a pretty good straight changeup and a forkball, some off speed to go with the power. Many times when you go through an arm injury such as Mercedes has, you come up with an off speed pitch to help that fastball. There it is right there. Good.
Well, Carlos Bernhardt said he was throwing 5 pitches in the Dominican and command of all 5, and that's very unusual.
And it's one of the dilemmas with the Orioles at the moment. I think there's 19 pitchers still in camp counting Scott Erickson, and really only 7 counting Scott Erickson are legitimate starters, and Mercedes is one of them.
Strike 3. That's it. Second out.
Just a terrific pitch sequence from Mercedes. Terrific fastball down and away to get ahead. Straight changeup for a strike. Then you have the hitter right in between. And you can see O'Donnell's reaction a little bit late. It's called having the hitter in the rocking chair. Too late on your fastball, too early on the change.
You know, the feeling is when you talk to some folks is that if Maduro becomes the number 5 starter, Mercedes will be the long man out of the pen, and vice versa.
Obviously, Mercedes the more experienced of the 2 pitchers.
1 ball and no strikes to Paul LaDuca. Last year, 36 games with the Dodgers for LaDuca. Not much to show. .232 average, 11 runs driven in, 3 home runs.
Mercedes breezed through the first inning, just needed 11 pitches, 9 of them for strikes. Wirtsheiser even doing a little bit better, 8 pitches, 5 strikes. Using indication pitchers are in good groove when it's 12-15, so these 2 so far on top of their game early.
Beltre, the runner at second base, taking his lead. At third base is Geronimo Baroa, but 2 gone. As Mercedes trying to work out of the jam. Hit hard but foul. 2 balls and 1 strike to LaDuca, who'll be followed by Kevin Elster. Of course, Todd Hundley is the #1 catcher for this Dodgers ball club. Just looking at his numbers down in Florida here, Hundley hitting .344 this spring with 11 home runs, 32 driven in. I should say 11 hits in 32 at bats with 3 home runs, 5 runs driven in. And Sean Green, who is not here, is having a good spring. 3 home runs, 10 runs driven in, hitting .319 for the spring. Fastball high, 3-1.
Rick Dempsey receiving a lot of credit for Todd Hundley's return from reconstructive elbow surgery. Davey Johnson says that he went to Camp Dempsey for about a week to get his throwing mechanics back on track.
Now they need Hundley to be in there because there's no DH in the National League. Should be the 3rd out. Nice play by Bordick as Beltre tried to impede his view, but that's the 3rd out of the inning. They strand 2. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. Orioles nothing, Dodgers nothing. Lauderdale, bottom of the 2nd for the Orioles this inning. Baines, Ripken, and Calvin Pickering to go against, well, a graybeard, but a guy who's still effective in Oral Hershiser.
And here's a look at his best year 1988, 23-8 ERA, outstanding. Look at the playoff numbers, real impressive. Cy Young Award. That's how did he lose 8 games?
Yeah.
The 2.26 ERA.
Over his career, 203 wins, 145 losses, with a career ERA at 3.41.
Right. He next year went 15-15 after that season, and then shoulder miseries, and finally had shoulder surgery. Came back to have a couple of losing seasons, 10-15, 12-14, and after that the strength started to return to that shoulder, and he's pitched much better. Of course, he's not a #1 starter anymore, but he is a legitimate 4-5 for anybody.
I remember we mentioned the 59 consecutive scoreless innings, talking to Don Drysdale when Orel Hershiser broke his mark, and Drysdale said, I never thought anyone would be able to top what I did. He said, he said people don't really appreciate 59 consecutive scoreless innings.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like I said, he had 5 straight shutouts, and you figure that's 45 innings. He's still a ways away.
Okay.
That streak actually extended into the postseason. They went to 67 innings because the season ran out on that streak. And it wasn't until the 9th inning of Game 1 of the NLCS that he gave up a couple of runs.
Harold Baines with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Some guys would like to pitch a shutout during the course of a year.
I like to have a shutout inning once in a while. You know, never mind a complete game shutout.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Baines. He'll be followed by Ripken and then Pickering as the Orioles and the Dodgers meet at Fort Lauderdale. Well, a week from today, the Orioles will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee, playing their final spring training game. It'll be an off day Sunday at Camden Yards, a workout for the Orioles. And then, of course, Monday, April 3rd, the Cleveland Indians will be in town to open the 2000 season. Mike Messina on the mound for the Orioles. Orel Hershiser working for the Dodgers here this afternoon. Not going to be their opening day starter. That'll be Kevin Brown. Full count. Let's take a look at what will happen in that homestand. The Indians, of course, the perennial champs of the Central, and the Tigers, under a new skipper, Phil Garner, feel that they could make a move this year, and they got the big bopper in Juan Gonzalez.
Well, they'll hope to get a lot of mileage out of certainly Juan Gonzalez. They were very active in the wintertime with trades.
3-2 delivery to Baines. The center fielder, F.P. Santangelo, on the run. He makes the running catch in left center field. Of course, the irony of the whole schedule for the Orioles, over the years that I've been doing the Orioles, it seems the Orioles always open up with Kevin Apier on the mound for the Kansas City Royals.
And he's facing Messina, and he's usually 0-1.
Right. But this year, the Orioles, after Mike Hargrove gets fired by the Cleveland Indians, the Orioles open up against the Indians in a kind of a switcheroo.
And it's going to be a very interesting opening series, again, with Mike Hargrove going against his former club where he had so much success. It should be a very emotional series for Hargrove.
And of course, the man at the plate, Cal Ripken, begins the season just 9 hits shy of 3,000. And Cal working hard still down here. Saw him very early this morning in the cage. Elster cannot handle it. She goes E6, and it immediately flashed up there an error, so Cal reaches with 1 out.
Cal saying he's feeling much more comfortable at the plate. Had some quality at bats yesterday. And talking, take a look at this replay. Really just rolls right up the arm of Elster, and it's too late.
Well, Cal had a base hit yesterday in the game against the Cardinals at Jupiter. He's now 7 for 43, 3 runs driven in. Here's Calvin Pickering. Calvin has a couple of home runs this spring.
I asked Terry Crowley this morning, is he concerned about the lack of hitting? And he said, what lack of hitting? Because we're going to be just fine. So we're going to have them cool off all at once here and then have them all come out of the chute swinging it.
You know, the Orioles have dropped 4 in a row. They're now under the 500 mark for springtime, 9-11. They're 5-5 here in Fort Lauderdale. 1 strike to Pickering, the big guy who expected to be the first baseman for Marfoley Rochester. Could be a double play. Second baseman Grzelcyk to Elster, on to first, and they get to Pickering. Of course, Pickering not the fastest guy going down the line, and that's it for the Orioles as Pickering hits into the 4-6-3 double play. Top of the 3rd we swing. Orioles nothing, and the Dodgers nothing. Well, there's Tom down there. He's wearing his Marlin. Is that a Mariners shirt that he's wearing? Yeah, what's that? The Beast and the Beauty, I guess, huh?
See, I'm a little bit afraid of heights, and that position there is a little precarious for me.
Wait until the wind lifts it and starts rocking it.
She should have a parachute with the wind that's coming through from center field.
Kevin Elster swings through a pitch. 1 strike. Elster, of course, remember the great year he had for the Texas Rangers in '96 when he drove in 99 runs, 24 home runs. But then he went to Pittsburgh trying to get the big contract. Pop-up foul, coming back as catcher Morales, and it's out of play.
Well, he achieved all that damage hitting 9th in that Ranger lineup, so a lot of protection. And by the time you get through that lineup by Juan Gonzalez, Ivan Rodriguez, you're pretty tired as a pitcher. And he's always been a dead fastball hitter. And hitting out of that 9 spot, you're going to see a lot of fastballs.
Of course, he and Davey Johnson have a long history. Davey was the Mets manager when this guy was expected to be a superstar coming up through the Mets system, but injuries caught up with him. And then this winter, when Kevin Elster had not played all year last year, Davey Johnson and Elster got together, and the first question asked by Davey to Elster, he says, "You're not a fat pig, are you?"
let's cut to the quick.
And Elster said, "No, Skip, I stayed."
Well, he probably heard out of the ball for a year and owning a restaurant, and those two things. He probably figured put on a couple of pounds.
Well, Elster strikes out swinging. That's the 2nd strikeout for Jose Mercedes.
Mercedes still appears to be very comfortable on the mound, making quality pitches, locating his fastball. And Elster's kind of saying, "That's my pitch. I missed my fastball away." Probably wasn't on his menu.
Yeah. Fastball special.
Fastball down the middle is where I asked for it.
Kevin Gibbs will get his 2nd at bat. Popped out to Bordick at shortstop his first go round. He bumps through it. 1 strike. Kevin Gibbs, born in Washington, now lives in Davidsonville, Maryland, went to St. John's High School and attended Old Dominion. So he's got a lot of local flavor in the Baltimore, Washington area. Missed the last couple of seasons with injuries to both shoulders. That's low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jose Mercedes with a big outing and showing pretty well through the first 2 1/3.
Pitched out of a terrific jam in the 2nd. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Struck out Donald and LaDuca to get a ground ball. So that's a situation where you just need to put a ball in play and they have a run. He was able to stop that. You really see no tension in his delivery. Nice and relaxed. The ball's going where he's looking. He's not forcing it down in the zone. He's letting it go down in the zone. Again, clearly a pitcher on top of his game.
To bring up Carlos Bernhardt again, he said that winter ball down in the Dominican really improved his confidence. Back-to-back strikeouts, both swinging. 3 strikeouts this afternoon for Mercedes.
3 of the last 4. And you just see how relaxed. And this is what I try to tell some of the young pitchers. Just watch how smooth he is. This is a 1-part delivery, not a 5-part. Nice follow through. And watch where the ball ends up. Target goes in from Morales. That outstanding late movement right to the glove.
Sammy Ellis, Orioles pitching coach, has to be happy with what he's seeing from Mercedes.
He has been a pleasant surprise.
Amaral and Kirby can't get it. Santangelo round 2nd. He's going to head for 3rd. DeShields throw, not in time.
Great relay. Yep, Santangelo had to make up his mind going into 2nd base. You never want to make the first out of the inning or the last out of the inning at 3rd base. Reason being, you're in scoring position when you're at 2nd.
Oh, watch the throw coming in from Delino to Shields, and as that ball got away from Kirby, DeShields had to make a real good throw to 3rd, and you'll see it's a strike to Cal, but Santangelo just hustles in for a triple.
He slides and the ball comes right over his shoulder. The runner will try to get in the way of that throw. You can see him almost trying to read Cal.
And now Grudzelenic, who grounded out to 3rd his first trip. I remember when Santangelo played for the Montreal Expos and they came to Camden Yards. Every time the Orioles played the Expos, this guy Santangelo always hustled and always was a thorn in the side of the ball club. Grudzelenic with a runner at 3rd, 2 gone, scoreless ball game. 2-0 now.
It's really comfort level. You can see even with 2 outs and a runner on third, Mercedes chooses to pitch from the stretch. Usually that's for feeling a little uncomfortable watching the runner on third. So you go to the stretch so you can keep a better eye on him.
Here's the first strike, 2-1.
Even the 2-0 pitch is for a corner. So it tells you again he's on top of his game.
Well, you know, spring training is starting to wind down. The Von Paris moving van pulled in today. That means everybody will have their boxes here by Tuesday. The truck will be on its way by Wednesday back to Baltimore. Bordick mishandles it. The first run of the ball game will score as Santangelo scores from third base on the error committed by Mike Bordick. Well, Bordick usually sure-handed. We saw the spectacular plays last year with the Orioles and really should have been the Gold Glove shortstop in my mind. Does not handle this one cleanly, and that brings in the first Dodger run.
I said rarely do you see him even bobble the ball. Never mind misplay it. Just watching the replay. And all this means that Bordick will come out, instead of taking 300 ground balls tomorrow, he'll take 500.
Now, for Mike Hargrove, how much of a concern is it the last several ball games the Orioles have committed errors in very key situations? Remember at Port St. Lucie the other night, that cost them the ball game. Yesterday we saw an error committed. Today an error committed that allowed run scored.
Well, even going back to the you're right, the Port St. Lucie game, all runs in that inning to Jason Johnson unearned. It's one of the Orioles' strengths is consistent team defense. And again, Mike Hargrove knows Bordick is going to be right at the top of certainly his game and among the leaders in fielding percentage. Let him get it out of the way down here. Let him make a couple errors down here. All it does, it makes Mike Bordick work even harder, if that's possible.
Yeah. Hollinsworth, who has some power, takes it low.
And you don't have to worry about Bordick. He'll beat himself up enough over this.
Yeah, he's still thinking about it as he walks around. You can tell his head down, kicking at the dirt as he walks around the shortstop. As Jose Mercedes has been scored on here in the top of the third with 2 down. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Hollinsworth. The inning started with Elster a swinging strikeout. Kevin Gibbs went down swinging. Then Santangelo with a triple in the gap in right center field, coming in to score on the error on a ground ball off the bat of Mark Grudzielanek.
And going back to Santangelo, the hustle to get to third base ended up scoring on the error. If he stayed at second, he'd be at third.
Right. And those little things go down in the mind of Davey Johnson, that's for sure.
Extra 90 feet. Dodgers last year, I think, were amongst the leaders in steal attempts, even though they weren't considered the fastest team. Did a lot of running.
The ball off the glove of Pickering, but not far enough to allow Grudzielanek to advance to second base. Will Clark, if you're wondering, he's up in Jupiter with the other group of Orioles as they play the Cardinals.
Off the webbing of Pickering's glove.
So Grudzielanek with his lead at first base. 2 gone. The 2-1 pitch on the way to Hollinsworth. 3-1. Jose Mercedes walking around that downslope of the hill, trying to collect his thoughts here. As the left-handed bat of Hollinsworth stands in. Hollinsworth is a home run and 8 driven in this spring for the Dodgers. And that's a foul ball off the plate as Willie Morales will run after it. Morales, one of the guys vying for that catcher spot for the Rochester Red Wings. Tommy Davis, DiPestino, and Morales talking to Marv Foley about that. He says he likes all 3.
Oh, sure. I think where the Orioles felt they may have had a shortage of catching, I think the reason to move Tommy Davis to that position. Now they feel like they have a pretty good crew at Rochester and some others coming along the way. Jason Worth. It was considered a weakness of the organization a couple of years back. It's pretty strong at the moment.
Grudzielanek going on the 3-2 pitch. It's fouled into the Orioles dugout. Now, of course, it was announced today that Matt Riley, the young left-hander, was sent to Sarasota, reassigned, probably going to wind up at Rochester because of disciplinary reasons. Talking to Mike Hargrove, he said, you know, the young man has done a few things down here that he would wish he hadn't seen. There's another foul ball.
Yeah, I guess there was an incident a couple of nights ago that they weren't real pleased about, and he Matt Raleigh, for the third time this spring, came in late. The first time they made him come in extra early with Richie Bancells at 5:15 in the morning. The second day he was supposed to do that, he missed that, so they fined him $500. And I guess yesterday morning he was once again late for the workout. So Matt Riley has grown up a lot for me between the lines, and his work ethic on the field, off the field, has been a little different.
Well, the Pickering for the third out, but a run scores on the error. We go to the bottom of the third. Dodgers 1, Orioles nothing. Here at Fort Lauderdale as we move to the bottom of the third inning. Some folks wearing their Oriole hat there, enjoying the sunshine in Fort Lauderdale. A little cooler today, Mike, than it has been. Maybe mid-70s rather than near 80.
Well, it's still one of those days that my daughter would say when she went outside, I'm going to need some sunscreen today, because her skin would get so hot in the sun. Where's the sunscreen?
Well, Bill Stetka just handed us a report on what's going on up north in Jupiter. For Calvin Maduro and the Orioles' other squad against the Cards. The Cards lead at 3-2 in the third. It was a 3-run second inning for St. Louis against Maduro.
Right, we don't know they were earned, unearned, or how it all transpired, but it's a very important start for Maduro.
There's he and Mercedes, who's pitching here against the Dodgers, vying for that number 5 starter spot, and Rich Amaral takes a strike from Orel Hershiser. Amaral has 11 hits this spring. Driven in 4 runs. Has attempted 5 steals with 4 successful. Guy vying for the spare outfielder spot on the Oriole roster heading north. 1 ball, 1 strike. Another guy, Wayne Kirby, who would like to head north with the Orioles, is on deck. Hershiser standing at attention on the hill. Just stands. Always interesting to watch him, the way he sets up to pitch. There's a strike 2. Some guys stand a little bit sideways. He stands as if somebody is playing the national anthem with his arms by his side, so erect.
You want to repeat. You actually want to start your delivery the same way every time. That's why he's been as good as he has been. It's repetition. Each pitch is separate, but they're started identically each time. Creatures of habit. Was it that long arm drop in the back? Classic follow through.
2-2 pitch to Amaral. Atlanta gets over there and we're gone. Wayne Kirby, lefty swinging outfielder, playing center field this afternoon for the Orioles. Will step in now. Kirby so far this spring, 4 hits, officially to the plate 32 times. He has 5 driven in with 1 home run.
The offense still has remained silent. I figured, what, 2 runs the last 29?
Kirby has a history with Mike Hargrove in Cleveland. Also has played for the Dodgers, the New York Mets last year. Total minor league year with Las Vegas, where he hit an even 300. It's like, I guess baseball, like any other job, when you know what a guy can do, you kind of bring him into your group, and that's what Mike Hargrove has done for Wayne Kirby this year, despite the fact he played at the AAA level last year.
Well, he's excellent, certainly in the clubhouse, and it's just going to be a matter of 11 and 14, 12 and 13. That's the number of pitchers the Orioles may take.
Elsker with a pop. 2 up, 2 down.
Take the extra pitcher. It's going to be a tough call.
Yeah, the numbers game catches up with you or benefits you.
And every club's in the same position. Right. Roster problems, hard decisions to make, guys out of options. Try to build your ball club. Question of whether Brady Anderson, in reading the paper this morning, saying whether he'd be ready for opening day or not. Well, that influences your decision. If it's going to be Wayne Kirby, is it going to be Eugene Kingsale or Derek May? Derek May considered probably the best pinch hitter in the group. You know, Kirby and Kingsale considered the better defensive players, and you may need someone to go to center field. Or do you put Rich Amaral on center opening day? So all these things weigh into the decision. Or do you maybe have Delino to Shields in center field?
That's another Jerry Hairston at second.
And that's why managers like guys that can play multiple positions.
It's off the helmet. So Morales will go to first base. Thank goodness for the hard hat. Right off the top of the helmet. And Willie Morales goes down to first.
We watched Scherzer warming up for the game, and he's thrown very few breaking balls. This may be the reason. He just has not found the release point. And that was a breaking ball.
And Willie from Tucson, Arizona. We understand his dad's here in the stands watching the ball game today. Morales had been with the Oakland Athletics organization, but the Orioles signed him as a free agent in December, and they like what they see.
Fine receiving catcher, and he's got some pop in his back.
So Morales is at first. Here's the lineup.
I think that's why we've seen Scherzer mostly feature fastballs, but he just hasn't found the release point on that breaking ball. He's picked a couple of safe counts to flip it up there to see how it feels, but basically, if he's going to make a pitch, it's going to be with his fastball.
And you would not think, the way the fastball has diminished in its velocity, that he could live by that fastball.
Well, but he is the master already of changing speeds. And so, you know, I used to talk to Rick Down, who is now the hitting coach with the Dodgers, and he would just say he's a less than or a mathematician pitcher. He's going to be less than, add a little bit, add and subtract more than he's going to overpower you. He may underpower you at this stage. Take a little off, get you to roll over, hit a ground ball to second is his goal.
Now, a lot of folks think when you throw a fastball, you throw it all at the same speed, but that's not the case.
No, and the analogy I like to use is if you go to the batting cage down at the beach or your local sports complex and it's throwing 100, you will figure out a way, if it's consistently throw 100, to hit it. But if it throws 100 and 180 and 185, you'll have a difficult time.
That's Donalds making the tag as Delino goes by him, and the Orioles have played 3 here in Fort Lauderdale. They trail Los Angeles 1-0. HTS coverage of Orioles baseball is brought to you by Mountain Dew, who reminds you to do the do. Another landing at the Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, one of the busiest executive airports, I guess, in the world.
Absolutely correct.
I like it when the prop planes land because those jets make too much noise.
Yes, they do. A lot of giddy up with those jets. Of course, here at the Sarasota, Fort Lauderdale, the field 2 and field 3. We look at the Mercedes pitch count. Just 17 balls, 36 strikes. Another indication throwing well. But those jets take off right in the morning when the Orioles are trying to do their drills and all that. It really impedes a lot of the conversation with those jets taking off.
I know some folks have said, well, there's some land out there just beyond center field where the Orioles could put some more diamonds. Unfortunately, when you look to your left, there's the runway. I don't know if I'd want to be on that diamond while planes are taking
We'll see how well the players can concentrate then.
Yeah, right. Geronimo Berroa. A nice play by Mercedes. And Berroa is gone after singling up the middle his first at bat. He sends one back through the box this time, but Mercedes got the glove down quickly.
Making the goalie save. Mercedes lands in a pretty good fielding position. You watch his follow through. Great play by the glove.
Yeah, hey, oh, it's there.
Stick it out, and thank you.
Beltre will come up now. He doubled his last trip. 1 ball and no strikes. Orioles trailing 1-0. It was an unearned run for the Dodgers in the 3rd inning. FP Santangelo triple followed by a Mike Bordick error allowing that run to score. Apparently a little low, I guess. 2 balls and no strikes. Chris Donald's on deck. The 2-0 Mercedes delivery in for a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. Rafael Pena and Tim Worrell expected to follow this afternoon for the Orioles. Up in Jupiter, the Orioles with Calvin Maduro starting, and we'll give you the rundown of who's pitching there. Down the right side, Amaral on the run. I think the wind may push it out of his reach, and it does. Up in Jupiter today, along with Maduro, Buddy Groom, Chuck McElroy, and B.J. Ryan, all southpaws will get their work in. Also up there in Jupiter, Jeff Conine and Will Clark. Albert Bell is also up there. And lots of youngsters. In fact, the Orioles have brought in several youngsters from Sarasota to fill out both squads today.
That's one of the reasons that the Orioles haven't cut down on their number in camp is because of today's game, the split squad. You need really 18 innings of pitching, so a lot of bodies available today and needed.
Reached for and fouled out of play right side. So Beltre hangs in there, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The sun has kind of disappeared behind some clouds, not rain clouds by any means, and the breeze continues to blow in from center field. 2-2 pitch, fouled again, out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mercedes. Orioles down by a run, 1-0. Playing in the top of the 4th. Belt buckle high hop played by Bordick. He throws it, and Beltre is gone. 2 up, 2 down in the top of the 4th. Well, the Orioles after today will only have 2 more games here at Fort Lauderdale in this spring schedule. The Tuesday on the 28th, the Minnesota Twins will be here. Tomorrow, the Orioles go, I should say Sunday, the Orioles will be in Jupiter against Montreal. Monday, they go to Fort Myers against Minnesota. Then the Twins come here Tuesday. The Expos here Wednesday. Thursday, on a getaway day for the Orioles, they'll be in Jupiter playing the Cardinals. And then it's up to Atlanta, Chattanooga, and then home to Baltimore. Donald's at the plate with a 1-strike count. He took a called 3rd strike his first trip against Mercedes. Wayne Kirby will cruise back and make the catch. 3 up, 3 down for the Dodgers against Mercedes in the top of the 4th. We head to the bottom of the inning. Los Angeles 1, Orioles nothing. There are a limited number of 13 and 29 game ticket plans available for the 2000 season. Get the same seats for exciting home games against teams like the Indians, the Red Sox, Braves, and the Phillies. Ticket sales staffs are standing by to take your order. Order today and get a free Cal Ripken number 8 baseball. Call 410-685-9800 right now. That number, 410-685-9800. Wow, look at this. How do you like that shot, huh? What is it? Was it a meeting out there?
I think so.
Or is there a cookout coming a little bit later?
Probably a cookout.
Yeah.
Or it could be another armadillo.
Mike Bordick 0 for 1 today. And Mike watches the first one from Hershiser in for a strike. Rafael Pena now up and throwing in the bullpen for the Orioles. So we may have seen the last of Jose Mercedes, originally scheduled to go 4 innings, and he's worked before, giving up 1 run on 3 hits. But that 1 run came in on an error. So Rafael Pena expected to go a couple of innings this afternoon, to be followed by Tim Worrell for 3. 0-2 the count. Orioles looking for their first hit against Oral Hershiser as we play in the bottom of the 4th. And strike 3 call. Well, Hershiser may not be loose, may not have that breaking ball, but he certainly knows how to pitch.
Well, he's smart enough to know what is working, and it has been that fastball and sinker, and he just stayed right with it. Nothing fancy, no major, big curveball, straight changeup. Just make pitches, quality, down in the zone, change speeds, try to get the hitter to hit the top half of the ball.
B.J. Surhoff.
Excuse me, just a great lesson for a young pitcher to watch. Any of the young men in the Orioles dugout should be paying close attention. Inside to B.J. Hit a fly ball to the left fielder Hollingsworth his first go round against Oral Hershiser. Hershiser, a big hockey fan, in fact, a pretty good hockey player in his youth. Still enjoys watching the game. 1-0 delivery inside. B.J. Surhoff, of course, had that year last year, the career year. I don't know if he can surpass those numbers, but every year B.J. has been a member of the Orioles, the numbers have gone up.
This one to Elster, 2 down. I know a lot of fans were upset when they started reading in the offseason about the interest of the New York Mets in B.J. Surhoff. And boy, everybody I talked to said, "What are the Orioles crazy? Hey, how could you get rid of B.J. Surhoff?"
Yeah, and you do have to listen. And again, we've talked a lot about the Mets really trying to move Ricky Henderson, even though he's still a productive player. Not quite happy with maybe his role in the clubhouse and some of his maybe defensive lapses from time to time. That does not happen with Surhoff.
Yeah, and of course, as you say, you have to listen. If somebody approaches you about a player, you listen.
Right.
Doesn't mean you make the deal.
I'm sure there's been inquiries about Messina. Right. We heard some of that grumblings last year when the Indians were desperately looking for pitching. They're going to throw the names out there. What will you give us from Messina?
1 ball and 1 strike to Harold Baines. Of course, many folks thought that maybe Scott Erickson would be involved in that deal that sent Baines to Cleveland last year when the Indians were looking for another starter. And that did not come. And maybe by not making a deal for Scott Erickson, that cost Mike Hargrove his job when John Hart didn't pull it off.
Sure, that's an interesting way to look at it. You're probably right.
So by the Orioles not trading Scott Erickson to Cleveland, it brings Hargrove to Baltimore to be the manager.
Bit of a catch-22.
Yeah. 3 balls and 1 strike, because definitely the Indians went into the postseason with Bartolo Colon and basically, you know, Charlie Nagy, but that's it. After that, that was it. FP San Angelo and the left fielder Hollinsworth. It's Hollinsworth. 3 up, 3 down again for the Orioles. They're still looking for their first hit. We've played 4 here in Fort Lauderdale. Dodgers 1, Orioles nothing. Orioles trailing the Dodgers 1-0, but Mike Flanagan, Jose Mercedes, in his 4 innings of work, I don't think did anything to diminish what the Orioles think about his abilities this year.
Man, no question. Pitch count of just 63 pitches through 4, right on the money. Outstanding control. So he did nothing but make the decision harder, I'm sure, for Mike Hargrove.
So he gives way to this young man, Rafael Pena. Pena, 28 years of age, from Southern California. Last year pitched at Rochester, went 8-10, and with a 4.37 ERA. Appeared in 48 games for the Red Wings, making 10 starts. Previous to that, he had pitched in Mexico as well as China. Bounced by Mike Bordick as Paul Loduca is on at first base.
Well, wasted no time jumping on the first pitch. It hits a bullet by Bordick.
So Pena, originally signed by Minnesota.
Fastball right down the middle.
Now Mike didn't have too much of a chance to set
much reaction time there. Ball's by you.
Loduca is at first base. Nobody down, and here's Kevin Elster. Outside, nice stop by Willie Morales. So Pena, originally drafted by the Minnesota Twins, selected by the Orioles as a minor league free agent in January of '99. Mentioned pitch for Rochester. Just played a couple of seasons in the Twins organization. Then from 1993 through 97 pitched in Mexico, and then in '98 in Chinese professional baseball. I didn't even realize they had a Chinese professional league.
Yeah, he played in Taiwan. I meant to ask him about it, to tell you the truth. He went 10-11 that year with a 4.04 ERA in 27 games.
Strike on the outside corner.
Much like the story of Doug Johns, went over to Italy and played. I mean, today you can find a job in Australia, a lot of countries. Japan, Winter League still very strong around the world.
Runner going and swinging a fly ball right center. Amaral on the run, but it's going to be Kirby to take it. And Elster's retired for the 2nd time today.
And that's the thing today, is that you have scouts, international scouts are as busy as anyone. Of course, with the Orioles, the Aruban connection has been a wonderful source of some tremendous young players.
Kevin Gibbs.
So I guess if you're playing ball in southern Brazil, some scout will see you.
Yeah, as they say, no stone is left unturned. Right. Gibbs has popped out to Bordick at short and gone down swinging both against Jose Mercedes. Loduca at first base, and Morales a diving stop of that one.
And Gibbs' speed is well known. If you look at Cal Ripken at third base, way in on the grass. Just trying to take the bunt away from Gibbs.
1 out. Pickering holding at first. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Pena this spring has worked 4 innings coming into this ball game, giving up 4 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. But he has a victory.
Real long set of signs given by Glenn Hoffman, the third base coach. Pretty good hit and run count, or running count.
There goes the runner. And that kept him out of the double play as the Shields just gets it there to first. as Gibbs hustles down the line, and real tight play at first base. So by having the runner in motion prevents the Orioles turning two.
And just almost beating it at first base. Very close play. Well, cellular one, you make the call.
Well, let's see. They have the opportunity to get a good look.
Watch the foot of Gibbs and the glove of Pickering.
Woohoo! Tight.
Well, spring training is for the umpires too.
F.B. Santangelo, it was his triple with 2 out in the third that kind of got things rolling for the Dodgers as they picked up their only run of the ball game and the only run of the ball game. Kozolanic then hit a ground ball to short that was mishandled by Mike Bordick, allowing Santangelo to score, and it was Santangelo's hustle that got him the triple. Santangelo with a strike and a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Duke is now at second base with 2 gone. 1-0 Los Angeles. Top of the 5th at Fort Lauderdale. 2 balls and 1 strike. Santangelo falling across the plate. Now has to set himself back in that left-handed batter's box. Surhoff cruising back. The left fielder is there as the wind whips it around a little bit, but BJ handles it. Dodgers strand a runner at second base. To the bottom of the 5th, we swing at Fort Lauderdale. Los Angeles 1, Orioles not.
I'm taking.
Make your plans now to be at the Yard on Friday, April 7th for Orioles Magnet Schedule Night. Every fan attending the 7:05 Orioles Tigers game will receive a free 2000 Orioles Magnet Schedule courtesy of Southwest Airlines. Get your tickets now. Call 1-888-848-BIRD or visit online at www.theorioles.com. You know, John Angelos, the man in the dark shirt. John, of course, is the executive vice president of the Orioles. One of the minority owners, Ed Brush, one of the investors right next to him.
President of the Fountainhead Group and an avid fisherman, I might add. And over Ed's shoulder, I guess, is Joe Foss.
Joe, the vice chairman, chief operating officer of the Orioles.
So it must be getting to be decision time.
Yeah.
And players notice that too, believe me.
Cal Ripken has reached on an error by the shortstop Elster. He's at plate for the 2nd time against Hershiser, and it's 1 strike to Cal. Yeah, it looked like a breaking ball that time. Huh?
Very few, and you can see the swing Cal had at it because the players are saying he's just throwing sinker after sinker. Go up and look for it, and you do, and now it's into the 5th inning. He breaks out a couple.
You know, the Orioles still looking for that first base hit. Look what Hershiser's done.
It's recognizing what you have. We watched the Hershiser warm up before the game. Again, had a lot of trouble with that breaking ball. And so you just file it until it, you try to work it in between innings. It's a great lesson for young pitchers. A lot of times, if they have a changeup, they're going to force it in no matter how it feels.
Now, this is probably the last inning for Hershiser. We see right-hander Mike Judd starting to throw in their bullpen. He's loosening up. Not a member of the Sing group, is he?
I don't believe. Good sing, no pitch. Is that what the scouting report is?
Or good pitch, no sing.
Either way. I think he preferred the latter.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Cal. Two balls, 2 strikes. It'll be Ripken, Pickering, and Amaral as the Orioles trying to break out of that slump that's seen them lose 4 straight ball games. 2-2 pitch. Second baseman Grapefruit digs it out of the dirt. 1 down now as Ripken grounds out to the second baseman, and Pickering went into a 4-6-3 double play. His only trip will come up now.
That's his whole goal. Just try to get you to hit the top half of the ball. Use the sinker down. Your obviously highest percentage of location is with your fastball, so he's just going with that, and as long as they continue to hit it on the ground, he'll continue to throw it.
Now, with Hershiser, is it just a natural sinker, or does he grip the ball to make it sink?
Well, partly it's due to his delivery. That low sort of 3/4 is conducive to having a sinker, but he has an above average sinker. Even though some of the velocity has eroded over the years, he still keeps it down and still has delayed movement. So from a hitter's mind, it looks like they're hitting the ball in the center, and they just keep hitting the top. That late downward action.
1-1 to Pickering.
Instead of making it hard on yourself, again, fighting to get that breaking ball and change up, let's just go with the fastball. Keep running in and out, take a little off, locate.
Why is it so difficult to relay that to young pitchers?
Because they come through, you know, Little League, Babe Ruth League, American Legion, and they max effort. And you put the maximum, you always equate that with, I'm trying as hard as I can with maximum effort. And it's a very difficult thing to get through, to try easier. Many times I would go to the mound and say, you're trying as hard as you can? And nervously the pitcher would answer, yes. And I'd go, try a little easier, just a little bit out of control. And if you watch Hershiser's delivery, you really want to function at about, I don't know, 85–90% of what maximum would be. You don't want to sacrifice location and movement for velocity.
And there's a walk. First free pass issued by Hershiser this afternoon. Jose Mercedes running in the outfield, making the circuit from left field toward right. Probably lots of thoughts running through his head
with each step.
Am I going to be the number 5 starter? What's my role with this ball club?
And usually it used to be an indication of how well you pitched, whether you wore your jacket or not. He pitched pretty well for me. If you pitched well, you wanted them to see your name on the back so they remember you. And if you pitched poorly, you wear your jacket. But I don't think he has the same sort of thought process going on this one. He had a pretty good outing.
Well, we mentioned it's breezy and a bit cooler today, so just,
and he is warm, so you know you want to keep the draft.
Coming back our way and just below us. Well, Mike, I was ready to protect you.
Right. That's why you're the best.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing we might want to show while we have a shut up here is the difference in those baseballs.
Oh, yeah.
We talked a little bit about it yesterday. There's a new baseball this season.
Well, we'll show last year's baseball is it's hard to get the close-up shot, but you can read.
Right, the unified. I don't know if we can get a shot of that. That's probably asking a lot. But let's see. There we go. And last year it was American League, official American League baseball, and now there's going to be a unified baseball for both leagues. Yeah,
this baseball is signed by Gene Budig, president of the American League, and it's a kind of a light blue. And here is the new baseball that both leagues will use this year.
And actually, they'll have a new emblem on the bottom. This will be a first time into effect, the Major League Baseball logo, and this ball will be used as now called the official Major League ball. So they'll be using for the first time the same ball in both leagues.
And Alan H. Seelig has signed it. Of course, that's Bud.
Because in the past, players could definitely tell the difference between the American League baseball and the National League baseball, and now for the first time ever there'll be one baseball for both leagues.
And what was that difference between the seams?
I felt that the American League ball was just a fraction larger, and the seams always seemed higher, and the National League ball seemed smaller.
So how do you feel between these two right now?
I feel like I can't throw them without a lot of pain.
Amaral, second for one, and that's it, as Pickering goes in hard at second base.
But I remember when Alan Mills went over to the National League and he had a difficult time at first. We'll take a look at this play first. Pretty aggressive play at second base. Nice play by Pickering, hustling down to second. We'll take another look at it. Quick feed off that high hopper. By then you have 280 pounds more barreling into you.
Yeah, you get out of the way.
But Alan Mills, when he went over to the Dodgers, called and said, I'm having a hard time getting used to this National League ball. It is different.
Now it'll be uniform. Be interesting to see if the ball is as lively as all the guys complained about the past several years. Inside to Wayne Kirby. Kirby has popped out to short. 1 ball and no strikes. Still, the Orioles without a base hit in this ball game. They've had a walk, a hit batsman, and an error committed by the Dodgers. That's been the base runners so far today for the Orioles. Nice play by the first baseman Donalds. He'll go to the bag, and Donalds saves the first base hit of the ball game by the Orioles. Hershiser goes over to congratulate him. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's the top of the 6th. Dodgers 1, Orioles 0. Saturday afternoon at the ballpark. That's an interesting way to shade the sun from you.
Need some sunscreen.
with the M at
Right.
the end. Orioles have not had a hit in this ball game. As we go to the top of the 6th inning, Orel Hershiser probably ready to head back up to Vero Beach after working 5 innings without a run and a hit.
Yeah, I can see Davy Johnson signaling down to the bullpen. He's looking for a hitter somewhere along the line. But Hershiser threw 5, had not allowed a base hit, and 61 pitches, just a little over 12 per inning pitched, right on the money, as good as you can get.
Bunt down the first base side. Pickering will field, flip to the pitcher, covering, and out. Nice play by Pickering and the pitcher Pena, as they coordinated nicely, working those drills that were so repetitive down here in the spring, but pay off when in plays like that.
Well, you need to be repetitive so they're instinctual. So you make the call. Nice drag bunt. Try to pull Pickering in off the bag and make it difficult to flip the ball back. Nice play on both parties. You can watch the pirouette by the base runner. Getting his feet a little tangled up around the bag. The Russian judge gave him a 4.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was political.
Political.
Todd Hollinsworth stands in. Hollinsworth 0 for 2. A line out to short and a ground out to Pickering at first base on the outside corner. And we see Tim Worrell up and throwing in the Orioles bullpen now, and we expect him to go 3 innings to stretch him out a little bit.
Well, then that's to get a little better look. He has been very impressive. He's another player brought into camp that's making the decisions tough for Sid Frith and his group.
Of course, he has that unique situation where, I guess it's March 27th, if he's not on the Orioles roster, he can ask to become a free agent.
This is true, and he's pitched well enough to certainly get everybody's attention.
B.J. Surhoff toward the infield to make the grab. 2 up, 2 down. 1-0 Dodgers. 2 gone in the top of the 6th inning, and Geronimo Baroa, who has a base hit and a comebacker to the mound, will stand in. And he actually should be 2 for 2, but Jose Mercedes made a real good play in getting that glove down to stop the ball before it went on through to center field.
Well, that's part of his hitting approach. Tries to drive everything right back up the middle.
1 ball. Mercedes today worked 4 innings, gave up a run. It was unearned. 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, and no walks. Pena working his 2nd inning. 2 balls and no strikes. Orel Hershiser for 5 innings did not allow a hit, not a run, 1 strikeout, and 1 walk. And he hit a batter. 2-1 now to Baroa. We see a lot of Dodger blue out there warming up, getting loose. So we should see some changes for Davy Johnson and his ball club. 3-1 now to Baroa. The Dodgers have brought several guys from their minor league organization down here.
Looks like there'll be mass substitutions.
Yes. And that's a ball 4. A 2-out walk to Baroa. And Beltre will stand in. I said Beltre, but it's going to be Jose Vizcaino coming in to bat for Beltre. Beltre had a double in 2 trips, and Vizcaino will come up now.
Yeah, that's the hitter that Davy Johnson was signaling for.
Vizcaino 7 for 31 this spring. Fouls the first one off and out of play. Last year with the Dodgers, Vizcaino hit .252. 1 home run, 29 driven in. Vizcaino hits from both sides, batting left-handed against the right-hander Pena. Pena looks Burrow back to first. Pickering not holding with the runner, standing behind the runner as he takes his lead. Fastball for a strike. 0-2 to Vizcaino. You see another change about to be made by the Dodgers. Hansen has come out in the on-deck area for Davy Johnson. 1 ball. Dave Hansen. Worrell continuing to throw in the Orioles bullpen. And it looks like the Orioles are sticking to the game plan. Mercedes for 4, Pena for 2, and then Worrell. The 1-2 pitch. Bordick will flip to DeShields for the final out of the inning. We go down to the bottom of the 6th at Fort Lauderdale. The Orioles trail the Dodgers 1-0. This one 1-0, looking for that first hit. And they couldn't get anything done against Orel Hershiser. Now a new pitcher comes on for Davy Johnson. It's Mike Judd. Judd, a 24-year-old right-hander, one of the top prospects in the Dodgers organization.
Yeah, he was ranked 6th by Baseball America. Can be dominant at times. A fastball in the mid-90s. So I expect some big things out of Judd. Last year, what, 3-1 late season call up. Fits pretty well for him.
And lots of defensive players changes, and we'll give you those very shortly as Morales takes ball 1 from Mike Judd. 2-0. Spring training still, so you get to see those high numbers make their appearance on the field. And that's the Orioles' first base hit of the ball game. So the first batter to come to the plate after Orel Hershiser leaves the ball game delivers a single for the Orioles, and Willie Morales is on at first with nobody down here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, made it look awful easy. I don't think Hershiser threw a ball this high his entire outing. So again, we talk about it a lot, the difference between being up in the zone. You see the hitter swing Morales very level. So where you can hit a line drive much easier. Hard to lift that ball down in the zone when it's sinking.
1 ball and no strikes down to DeShields. The lineup is trying to bunt his way on unsuccessfully and then grounded out to first. Two and all, and now the catcher Loduca is going out to the mound to talk things over with the new pitcher Mike Judd. Judd this spring with his 5th game of work in an A game, 0-1 with a 5.40 ERA. Over 10 innings of work. He's given up now 13 hits, a couple of strikeouts, but this is one that gets to you 7 walks. So control has been a problem.
I'm sure Loduca is instructed, if he goes 2 balls and no strikes, go ahead out there. Let's not him get into a bad rhythm. And plus, he's spoiled by having Hershiser for the first 5.
And Judd has fallen behind 3-0 to DeShields. And it's ball 4, so 4 consecutive out of the strike zone. That pushes Morales to second base, and Bordick will come to the plate.
So I'm sure this has been a history for Judd in the spring. So quickly, pitching coach out to talk with Judd and just say, look, weren't you watching the first 5 innings? Good things happen when you throw it over down in the zone.
Now the pitching coach for the Dodgers is Claude Osteen, but I don't think that is Claude.
That's not Claude.
That's number 36, and I'm looking for number 36 on my sheet, and I don't see it. And Claude Osteen wears number 38, former big league left-hander. Dodgers
pitching coach 1 year in Rochester a few years back, in 1995.
So Vizcaino comes in to pay a visit. Of course, Vizcaino came up as a pinch hitter for Beltre. And give you some of the other changes. At first base is Dave Hansen. Tony Mota has gone to right field. Juan Castro is now the shortstop for the Dodgers. 2 on, nobody out. And Bordick watches one right down the middle. Seemed like Judd was trying to ease that one right down the heart of the plate after throwing 4 consecutive out of the strike zone.
And that's Bordick just taking all the way. Long look down at Sam Perlazzo. Not sure if they'd use the sacrifice. Dodgers not really playing for. They're for sure if they know Bordick's bunting or not.
Oh, 2. Interesting watching down in the Orioles on deck area. Just to the left of the screen, you have B.J. Surhoff and Harold Baines talking, watching very closely, watching this young right-hander, and they had just broken up their conversation about what he does on the hill. Misses outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, you were pointing out the other day about the way Baines goes about his job with the videos. Of course, he hasn't seen a video on this guy, right. So he watches.
What have you seen, and what do you think? How do you think he'll work us? Hitters always want to know the assortment that the pitcher features. Does he have a fastball? Does he have a forkball? If they have a forkball right there, they want to know what to look for or what to eliminate. Pretty good forkball. So you can see the key for Judd is to get ahead and try to use that forkball. Pitch that's usually a ball, but very effective when you're ahead.
And that's the first out for the Orioles. Second strikeout this afternoon by Bordick. He's now 0 for 3. B.J. Surhoff looking for a base hit. Orioles have only one base hit. That was the leadoff single here in the 6th by Morales. And then a walk to DeShields. And now the first one to B.J. high and away. The jet pitch is in on the hands, and like we saw him with the splitter before, and he comes in with it again.
See, BJ way out in front.
So Surhoff with a 1-ball 1-strike count. Orioles trailing 1-0. They've lost 4 in a row coming into this ball game and trail here. 1-2. BJ upset with himself as you see him swipe at the dirt with the bat.
Now again, it's all about being comfortable at the plate. And that fastball got on him a little bit. So tried to read the variance in speed. And now I'm sure you'll see BJ spread out with 2 strikes and do what he does best. Terrific 2-strike spread out hitter. This is his fight approach, where he just cuts down on his swing, spreads that stance a little wider to keep the weight evenly distributed. If the ball's away, he'll just try to flip it away. If it's in, he'll just try to react. He was one of the best hitters in the league with 2 strikes on him last year. One of the reasons he had such a terrific year.
Mike Judd with a 1-ball 2-strike count. 2 Orioles on, 1 out. And it's popped foul and out of play. And we saw last year many great at-bats by B.J. Surhoff where he would get in the hole 2 strikes and foul off, and then deliver the base.
Yep, stay alive until the pitcher will make a mistake.
Baines will follow. Infield a double play depth for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The right fielder Mota. Here comes Morales to the plate. He'll score. We're tied. Throw to second, not in time. Talking about B.J. Surhoff and the toughness with 2 strikes. He delivers the tying run in.
Stay alive. Fight off those pitches that are on the corner over your head. So you get one low middle. And BJ's all over. Just really a wrist swing. You really see no body getting into it. Just hits a line drive into right.
Now DeShields goes to third base. BJ to second on the throw to the plate. And now Harold Baines is up with 1.
See BJ read it extremely well. Once that throw went over the cutoff man's head, he heads right into second base. Quality at bat and certainly quality base running.
A strike. So the infield in for the Dodgers. They'd like to cut down the runner at the plate if possible.
But sometimes trying to save 1, you give up a couple. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Actually, the first base side of the infield playing a little bit back because of Harold being left-handed.
Well, they got what they were looking for that time. Bounce out to the shortstop. Baines. The bouncer to Castro. Castro came home, and the tag of DeShields coming to the plate. So 2 gone. Baines at first, moving to third. Surhoff.
And actually planned by the third base coach or the manager. He'll tell him, do you want that runner at third to go on contact, or do you want to make him go through in that situation? And obviously they told DeShields to go on contact. Try to make it.
Cal Ripken in this 1-1 ball game will come up. Cal was reached on the air and grounded out to second base. 1-0 to Ripken. Orioles now with 2 hits in the ball game. They came to this bottom of the 6th hitless, but that was against Oral Hershiser. Mike Judd taking over for Los Angeles in the 6th. Strike to Ripken. 2-1 strike. He shakes off one side, likes the second. Swing and a miss by Cal. A ball and 2 strikes. Interesting to watch the difference in approach by Judd from Hershiser. We mentioned Hershiser standing tall, very straight on the hill, and you watch Judd. He leans over, puts the weight on one leg, dangles the arm by the side, kind of rocks it back and forth. Runners at first and third, and Ripken goes down swinging. Another split finger pitch, and that's it for the Orioles. But they've tied the ball game. We go to the top of the 7th. Orioles 1, Dodgers 1. HTS coverage of Orioles baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Log on for low fares at www.southwest.com, a symbol of e-freedom. Well, 4 innings of strong work again for Jose Mercedes, and he's kindly agreed to join us. You see Jose down in the picture there. Congratulations, another good outing, Jose.
Thank you very much.
How did you feel out there today, Jose?
Oh, I feel great today. Everything was working for me, and the weather's kind of helping me out today.
Right. How important was winter ball this past winter?
Well, very important, because that will give everybody the chance to see that I was healthy again, and for me, give me the chance to prove everybody that I'm ready to play again in Major League Baseball.
But when you came into camp, were you feeling more, I just want to make the club, or I want to be a starter? What was your thoughts coming into camp?
Telling the truth, I was thinking that, first of all, I need to make the club, and whatever happened, no, I would take it, you know, the starter or reliever, I will take it.
Well, we certainly have seen you exhibit fine control. I remember watching you back as a starter with Milwaukee a couple of years back, and to me, you're all the way back from the shoulder injury.
Well, telling the truth, right now I look at myself better than 1997 and 1998 before I got hurt.
Jose, what was it about playing in the Dominican this winter? Now, Carlos Bernhardt was raving about the way you were pitching. What turned it around for you down there?
Well, obviously, what's the nice job that I did back in Winterville.
What was it, the confidence that you built up being so effective down in the Dominican?
Exactly. Yeah. I went 6, 7 innings every time I go with 1 or 2 runs, and that's give everybody the attention to looking at me.
Well, Jose Mercedes, you've done a great job here this spring. I guess now you have to sit back, wait and watch and see what happens, huh?
Oh, of course, yeah. Hopefully everything come out good for me.
Jose, thank you very much for joining us. 4 innings of 1-run baseball, but it was an unearned run. Mercedes, 4 innings of work, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, no walks, and he was the first pitcher on the mound for the Orioles, and we thank Jose for taking time to join us.
Thanks,
Tim
Jose.
Worrell is now the 3rd Orioles pitcher of the afternoon. Another guy that's waiting and watching to see what happens. He has 1 out, and here's a bouncer down through the box to center field. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Tell us about Tim Worrell, Mike.
Well, he's shown above average control this spring, and I think he threw harder than a lot of us expected. He's had a terrific spring. The numbers don't lie. Been around the plate, ahead in the strike zone, been able to pitch both sides of the plate, and he too has opened a lot of eyes in camp, and they'll be watching with both eyes fixated on Worrell today. He'll be stretched out to 3 innings.
Here's Mota for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tony Mota, an outfielder, batting in the number 9 hole in the lineup. Get some changes for the Orioles. We'll try to catch up for you. First pitch to Mota by Worrell, a strike. Looks like new second baseman in for the Orioles. Jesus Garcia is now at second base. Mota awaiting the 1-strike pitch with 1 out, 1-1 ball game. Tommy Davis behind the plate catching now, replacing Willie Morales. Looks like Derek May has gone to right field for the Orioles. Wayne Kirby still in center. So trying to keep up with all the numbers that come in and the changes made in spring training.
Better have a pencil.
Yeah. Nice diving stop by Bordick. He has a double play. Bordick diving to his ankle side left. Came up with it. And what a play by Bordick to end the inning. A double play by the shortstop, and that's it. We go to the bottom of the 7th. 1-1 Orioles Dodgers. Telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles and CBS Cable and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and the description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles and CBS Cable. Well, I said that Jesus Garcia was at second base for the Orioles. I was wrong. Richard Paz is the second baseman now for the Orioles, and Luis Matos has gone into left field. We'll show you that when the Orioles go into the field. Calvin Pickering stands in as the right-hander Mike Judd works his second inning. And it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Calvin. Pickering is hit into a double play and walks. Two balls and 1 strike. It was a strong outing for Oral Hershiser. 5 no-hit innings. Jose Mercedes for the Orioles, 4 strong innings. We still have not gotten any further word from Jupiter about Calvin Maduro's work this afternoon. 3 balls and 1 strike now to Pickering. As soon as we get that, we will turn it around and give it to you. Here's Mike Hargrove, who says he really basically has set in his mind what he will do with the roster. Ball 4, so for the second time this afternoon, a walk to Calvin Pickering. He said, but you don't make it public until the night before the start of the season. He said, because you never know what can happen.
You can deal with injuries. Yeah. You just don't know. He knows what he would like to have happen. That's the thing about a manager today. You have to worry about a week or 10 days from now. I mean, they were asking Mike today about what day will the workout be on the off day before opening day. All these decisions you have to make while you're here.
Derek May hits it to the first baseman Hansen, to the shortstop, back to first, and the pitcher takes it and tags May going by. That was a 1-6, I should say a 3-6-1 double play. It should have been basically a 3-6-3 twin killing, but it worked out well for the Dodgers.
Well, they had 2 fielders in the vicinity of first base and just split the difference. The pitcher picking it off.
Wayne Kirby will get the at bat as you see the tag by the pitcher going by.
Here's another angle. I'll throw it right between the 2 of them. One of them will get it.
Yeah, what would have happened if they both met with their leather together and the ball bounced away?
And they both had let it go.
Yeah. Kirby today has popped out to the shortstop, and a nice play made by then first baseman Chris Donalds on a ball that was headed to right field. A big kangaroo hop. Donalds fielded and went to the bag to get Kirby. 2-0 now to the veteran outfielder. We have a left-hander throwing for the Dodgers in their bullpen, Onin Masaoka. Masaoka, one of the pitchers scheduled to see some action today, and he is doing so. And there's a ball 4. So Kirby draws the walk. Second walk of the inning given up by Judd. Third of the ball game by the right-hander. And the Orioles with 2 down have the runner at first base. Tommy Davis will stand in now. Davis getting his first at bat this afternoon. Davis 1 for 9 this spring. He's slated for Rochester. Kirby with the lead at first. Almost broke the wrong way, but got back to the bag at first base. Kirby has attempted 3 steals this spring, has been successful twice.
Yeah, pretty good situation to run in. Tie game, 2 outs, try to get into scoring position.
There he goes. Right down the middle of throw to second base, and Kirby's a goner. Yeah, they were running, but LaDuca throws him out. We played 7 at Fort Lauderdale. Orioles 1, Dodgers 1. Dodgers tied at 1. The big story coming into this ball game, Mike, would Jose Mercedes continue his strong pitching in the spring? And I think he definitely did.
Yeah, he did not disappoint today. And then, you know, was able to pitch 4 innings. You know, you can either start with that many innings if need be, or certainly can pitch long relief. So Jose right on the money today.
Also on the side where Dr. Bean game summary, outstanding job by the veteran Oral Hershiser.
Yep, and you know, the question of Hershiser was that good, or the Orioles bats just momentarily silent.
Worrell delivers the pitch, and lots of changes for the Orioles down at third base now. Howie Clark has gone in at third base. You see Paz at second, Borda continues at short, Pickering at first, Davis catching, Matos in left field, Kirby in center, and the right fielder running after that one is Derek May, but it's foul. So the Orioles with some youngsters, again a split squad day, so the Orioles brought some players over from Sarasota to fill out both teams.
Oh, you need 18 innings of players, you need 18 innings of pitching.
And Kevin Gibbs at the plate. Gibbs over 3 this afternoon in the DH role for Davey Johnson. 1-1 ball game, top of the 8th inning as Worrell works his second inning. Dodgers with 5 hits, Orioles 2. And there's a strike.
Again, quality location so far this spring from Worrell.
Now, Tim Worrell last year with Oakland did an okay job, but said he really did not get along with the people in Oakland, and it was not a very pleasant year for him.
He had pretty good numbers, 69 innings pitched, struck out 62, only walked 34. Ended up with a 2-2 record in 53 games.
And a strike recalled, and Worrell has had a strong spring for the Orioles as he picks up the strikeout.
Again, quality pitch. Knuckle curve. You can see the knuckle up on that baseball before it came out of his hand. Pitch he's worked on. Has a forkball, and so far, outstanding fastball with pretty good life.
Chris, his brother, former big leaguer Todd Worrell. He could bring the ball to the plate.
Oh, yeah.
F.P. San Angelo. His triple in the 3rd inning was followed by a ground ball and an error committed by the Orioles that brought in the only run of the ball game for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's 1 for 3. Catcher Tommy Davis could not find that ball initially. In fact, made a step out in front of the plate when the ball in fact was behind him, and Tommy watched that one drop well back or toward that warning track area.
You really can't pick it up as a catcher. Sort of a helpless feeling. By then it's too late.
Yep. There's Tommy Davis learning the art of catching. Normally a first baseman, third baseman can play some outfield. The 1-strike delivery. 2 strikes, and Worrell mixing them up.
Getting ahead, using all his pitches he's pitching, much like Hershiser did earlier.
The 0-2 delivery with 1 gone. And the count remains 2 strikes.
Had a nice conversation with John Shelby, the first base coach for the Dodgers, of course, former Orioles, before the game. And I made him tell me his killer chicken story. When T-Bone was about 6-7 years old, he said his mother brought home an Easter chicken. Well, it turned into a rooster. And he said this rooster just terrorized the family. They had a German Shepherd dog named McKeever. And he said this chicken was so mean, it used to beat up the dog and eat the dog food. And so I told John that Alex and I on our little farmette out in the country had a rooster, and is now named Shelby in honor of the one that T-Bone had. Only I said ours doesn't tell time. It goes off at 3 in the morning. Needs to be rewound often.
Oh boy.
But he had the whole batting cage in tears today recanting that story. He said they couldn't even go outside. They had a screen door. They used to all be pinned up against the screen door. Where's the chicken?
Yeah.
Where's the chicken?
Do you know the story how he got the nickname T-Bone?
I really don't, tell you the truth. Probably from running away from that chicken. He said everybody in our family could run. He said my sisters can run, and it all goes back to that chicken.
One gone, 1-2 pitch. He strikes him out. Back-to-back strikeouts. One called, one swinging.
Again, this is what we've seen all spring. Above average fastball. Get ahead, put the hitter away.
And you need that above average fastball when you're throwing up there around the letters.
Yeah, and then the thing is that Worrell has started some in the past, so he brings more versatility to the bullpen also. So you have Mercedes that could be a starter. You have Maduro who could be a starter, and certainly Worrell being stretched out today potentially could be a starter. And the Orioles won't need that fifth starter till after I think the fifth game of the season.
I'm trying to find out who this number 90 is. I was under the impression that they had a young man by the name of Metcalf.
Luca.
Yeah, right. Tom Davis.
That's right.
Pitch outside. 0-2. I said outside, but it got the corner. No balls and 2 strikes to the mystery Dodger.
And that's what he's been able to do, Worrell, is sort of backdoor that breaking ball. Hitter gives up on it, comes back and bites that outside corner.
There you go, and outside this inside.
In and out. That's what I've seen. Control to both sides of the plate. So again, making the decision for Sid Thrift and Mike Hargrove a little bit tougher.
Of course, most figure he and Al Reyes battling for the same spot.
Yeah, you can move the numbers around. You really feel Maduro has to make the club because he's out of options.
Unless some kind of a trade can be worked
That's
up.
always a possibility, but as things stand. Again, Mercedes not on the major league roster, so there is some freedom there. But he certainly has pitched well enough to be here.
And we have found out it's Mike Metcalf at the plate. And he sends one to left field. Luis Matos is there to make the catch. So a very easy 3-up, 3-down inning for Worrell. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Orioles 1, Dodgers 1. Bargain nights return to the yard April 5th and 6th when the Orioles meet the American League champion, the Central champs, the Cleveland Indians. All upper reserve tickets for the 7:05 games are only $8, a savings of up to $5. Get your bargain night tickets today by calling 1-888-848-BIRD or visit the Orioles online at www.theorioles.com. A new battery for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Onin Masaoka, a left-hander, is now on the hill, and Chad Kruger has gone in behind the plate to catch. Tommy Davis, who was at the plate, the caught stealing of Wayne Kirby, will come up. And Mike, we get some word on Calvin Maduro's outing up in Jupiter. Orioles after 7 leading the Cards 4-3, but Maduro worked 5 innings this afternoon.
Numbers not that bad. 7 innings, or 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts, hit a man. And we were told the runs were all bunched together in the 2nd inning, so that's not too bad of an outing either.
And Buddy Groom worked an inning, 1 strikeout, and B.J. Ryan now pitching for the Orioles in Jupiter. So the Maduro-Mercedes situation may be a little bit more clear by day's end.
No.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Tommy Davis with a 2-0 count. He hits it high and deep to left field. It is off the wall. Davis will round second. I should say, around first, heading for second. He's in with a double. So Tommy Davis hits it on the nose, and that's what they like about this young man, his bat and the fact that he's a versatile player. So Davis jumped on the high one and sent it down into left field.
Yeah, wasting no time. Fastball up and out of the plate. You can see the quick bat speed by Davis. Just lines it off that left field wall. Coasts into second.
Over the head of Hollingsworth. And brings up Richard Paz for the Orioles. There's a couple of youngsters back-to-back here. Paz wearing that number 74, brought in for the split squad day. Richard Paz is from Venezuela. Signed by Chu Halaby. And we hope Chu is feeling better. He's been hospitalized for several days. Last year he played at Frederick and Bowie. At Frederick he hit .252. No home runs, 18 runs driven in. Then at Double-A Bowie at .286 average. 2 round trippers, 20 runs driven in. 1 strike. Pitch inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Began in the Dominican Summer League with the Orioles in 1995. He's 5'8", 172 pounds. Davis at second base. 1-1 ball game. Bottom of the 8th. As the left-hander Onin Masaoka, 22-year-old from Hilo, Hawaii, works. Last year in 54 games with the Dodgers, went 2-4 with a 4.32 ERA. This is his 8th game of the spring. To the right side, that'll move Davis to third, and Paz is gone, but he gets Tommy Davis to third base with 1 out, meaning many ways that Davis could come to 90 feet to break this tie.
A nice piece of hitting by the young man. Really giving up himself to hit the ball to the right side. That'll make an impression on Mike Hargrove and his staff.
And here's Mike Bordick. A couple of strikeouts and a ground out of 3 trips. Now Bordick with a fly ball, any number of ways able to get the Orioles the lead here. The infield will come in. The last time the infield came in, it paid off for the Dodgers as they got the Shields at the plate.
Well, they'll go to it again as Mike Fetters gets up and begin to throw. Former Oriole in the Dodger bullpen.
Masaoka gets the sign from Kruder. Right down the heart of the plate for a strike.
Bordick among the leading hitters in the American League last year against left-handed pitching. Hit .406, I believe.
I tell you, Bordick had a terrific year last year, and in the field and at the plate. Tommy Davis at third base. Infield in for the Dodgers. 1-1 ball game, bottom of the 8th. This one's too tight.
Bordick would like nothing better to drive in the go-ahead run
and break the Orioles' 4-game slide. Luis Matos on deck. 1 out, runner at third. Way inside, and Kruder did a good job scrambling to smother that one. Had that ball gotten by him, Tommy Davis would have been flying home.
And you know Bordick would like to atone. The only run the Dodgers have on the board was the error back earlier in the game. So you can see this would be a major league regular season at bat for Bordick. That error back in the 3rd.
1-1 ball game. Dodgers scored first. The Orioles were held hitless through the 5 innings of Oral Hershiser. They scored their run in the 6th. 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and 1 strike. Masaoka has had a very good spring for Davey Johnson. His 8th appearance of the spring, 1-0 with a 1.13 ERA. Coming into this ball game, he had worked 8 innings, giving up just 2 hits. Fetters continuing to throw for Johnson, the right-hander in the bullpen. Infield continues in. 3-1 the count to Bordick. And a fly ball well hit to left field, but it's foul. Mike Bordick got into all of that one out onto the practice field, well beyond the fence, but it was foul.
Well, swinging to the count, knows it's in his favor, looks for a fastball, gets it. Just a little quick. You see the classic Bordick swing.
Yeah, the fat part of the bat got onto that one. So it's 3-2 now.
Now it goes back to just trying to drive that run in. 3-1. Go ahead and take the shot.
Popped up. Right side. It's the first baseman Hansen to make the grab. 2 gone. So that erases the possibility of a fly ball bringing in the go-ahead run.
Said Bordick would have liked nothing better. Had a couple of good passes and just got underneath.
Mike upset with himself, not able to deliver that runner in from third with 1 out. And now it'll be Luis Matos. Matos last year split his time between Frederick and Bowie. And Frederick hit .297, 7 homers, 41 driven in. Bowie, the average went down a bit, .237, 9 round trippers and 36 runs driven in. Young man from Puerto Rico, 21 years of age.
And they feel he is going to be a ball player. They said he is, just looks good. His reactions on the field, his movements. They feel he could play defensively in the outfield right now at the big league level. And they feel he's going to hit. He's filled out. When they signed him, he was just about 5'10", maybe, and 140 pounds. And in the last couple of seasons, he's added a couple of inches and 30 pounds to that frame. And they said he just moves like a ball player.
Yeah, it looks good. 21 years of age. Davis still at third base, 2 gone. 1-1's the score. Broken bat there, and a foul ball. That one shattered that bat.
And that's that cupped end of the bat that the players use, and if you get it anywhere around that end of the bat, watch it, it'll hit off the extreme end of the bat, and that's where that piece comes off from. And those bats are cupped on the end to take some of the weight out, so they're a little hollow at the end, and if it hits anywhere near that rim of that bat, it'll splinter.
I know a few guys in the quotes old days of baseball that used to hollow that end of the bat out and put little well, the inside of a baseball down there, huh? A fellow by the name of Norm Cash once in a while did that. Storm and Norman. Of course, it's illegal.
Right.
But hey, anything to try to get an edge. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Went back our way. 1-2 the count to Matos.
So this time he'll try it with a non-cupped bat.
Yep. Tommy Davis at third. 1 ball, 2 strike count, 2 out. And Matos reaches and fouls it out of play off to the right side. Well, next week at this time on a Saturday afternoon, the Orioles will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee with Ken Griffey Jr. and the Cincinnati Reds, the final spring training game. And a couple days after that, opening day at Camden Yards. Davis from third, the delivery. Matos swings and loops it towards center field. The left fielder Hollingsworth comes in and makes a nice catch. Todd Hollingsworth with a long run. And let's watch as Hollingsworth robs Matos of what could have been the go-ahead run. Nice play. 1-1 ball game. Top of the 9th. HTS coverage of Orioles baseball has been brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Log on for low fares at www.southwest.com. A symbol of e-freedom. Tied at 1 going to the top of the 9th, but a young man doing a good hustling job out there.
Not wasting any strides. He's been low flying around the ballpark the last few days. Where, you know, most every day he gets a standing ovation. Hustle behind the plate, chasing the foul balls. A little bit gassed now here. It's the 9th inning, but that's what spring training is for.
Yeah, look at it. You can tell fatigue just a little bit.
They said this job was going to be easy. I'm tired.
Todd Hollingsworth, who made the fine catch in left center field on the roll and the dive, takes the first pitch from Tim Worrell for a strike. So as often happens in baseball, the guy who makes an outstanding play leads off. He sends it high to left field. Matos camping under it. Takes the catch. 1 up, 1 down. This is the 3rd inning of work for Tim Worrell. He has allowed 1 base hit, struck out 2, and pitched very well.
Yeah, he really retired the 7 men he's faced. Give up a base hit, but then a quick double play erased that runner. Your legs tired? My legs are tired. This one? Yeah, that one. See that?
Oh,
I didn't have that when I came here for spring training. Now I have a muscle. My dogs are killing me.
Yeah. Oh boy. to be young again.
Oh, they work hard, though. I mean, they have to keep track. There's a whole system to being a bat boy. They have to they count the foul balls that go into the stands, and when they get down three in the stands, they bring the umpire out 3. It's actually a whole little science to it.
Kirby on the run. He'll get there. Center fielder has it for out number 2.
Well, those 2 bat boys fighting over a roster spot. Only one of them can make it.
Mike Timlin was just up here visiting
Cruising
with my broadcast
through
partner on radio on WBAL, Jim Hunter, and came by and pinched my shoulder as I'm sitting here.
Well, as long as his shoulder's fine, we don't care about yours too much.
That's correct. And his shoulder's been very fine this spring.
As long as we can write, that's all that matters.
Vizcaino at the plate.
You see Molina down the Oriole bullpen heating up. Sure, if this is to go extra innings, he will be the pitcher.
Looks like Mike Fetters, the old Oriole, will come on and pitch in the 9th inning as Vizcaino fouls it out of play. Fetters has had a good spring for Davey Johnson. Of course, last year Fetters had that elbow problem with the Orioles, had the surgery, very similar surgery to what Scott Erickson has gone through. In fact, Scotty talked to him before the surgery.
No, and now Scotty's going to take the mound on Monday. You try to see how well that goes. Chomping at the bit to get on the mound again.
Well, when you ask Scott about how things are going right now, he says there have been no setbacks, and he's very happy about that. He says, you know, I'm trying to do the program that they tell me to do because I've never been through anything like this before. And of course, Sammy Ellis will have a careful eye on him. A fly ball, left field base hit as Vizcaino is on. Hansen will come up now. Dave Hansen, lefty batter. And that's the second base hit given up by Worrell. As Mike mentioned earlier, LaDuca singled in the 7th with 1 out, but then Mota hit into a line drive double play. Now Hansen with the runner at first base, Vizcaino. Quick throw over there, Vizcaino back easily. Gabe Molino throwing in the Oriole bullpen. Mike Fetters is ready to go in the bottom of the 9th for the Dodgers.
Vizcaino, pretty good speed, 2 outs. Try to get into scoring position. Not a bad play. Somewhere in this count, you probably see him run.
Good test for Tommy Davis behind the plate.
Puts a little added pressure on Worrell to keep him close.
One ball game. Top of the 9th at Fort Lauderdale. That one's high. Well, the Orioles stretching Worrell out a bit here with his 3rd inning of work. Retired the first 2 batters, but then the single to left field by Vizcaino. He's at first base, being held by Pickering. The 1-0 delivery to Hansen. Good pitch. Count even at 1-1.
Does a nice job of holding the runner close and then dropping a straight changeup.
Into the right field corner. Vizcaino flying around second base. He's headed for 3rd. He's going to come in to score as May picks up the ball. The throw to the plate will not be in time, and on at second base with a double is Hansen. The throw gets away from Tommy Davis, but Worrell backing him up. But the Dodgers have taken the lead 2-1. Vizcaino flying around the bases to score from first base.
Got a great jump, great read. Looks like a fastball from Worrell, low middle, hooks it in the right field corner, and you could see the Dodgers were going to send him all the way from first. No hesitation. The third base coach waving him all the way. Good relay, another good relay. 1 hop throw to Davis, but just a little bit late.
Chad Kreuter will step in. Of course, Kreuter's been in the big leagues. Tigers, a couple of other ball clubs. Runner at second base with 2 gone, so this happens with 2 out. He retired the first 2 batters, did Worrell, but then the base hit by Vizcaino. Hansen's RBI double. So the Orioles will play come from behind baseball in the bottom of the 9th. Low to Kreuter. So far this spring for Chad Kreuter, it's been a pretty good one. Over 22 official at bats, 8 hits, 2 home runs, 7 runs driven in. So that'd be a pretty good backup for Todd Hundley, a fellow like Chad Kreuter. Low. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, Kreuter was involved in 1996 in that terrible home plate collision with Johnny Damon. Took a season-ending injury and surgery. They put a lot of plates and screws. They said worth $40,000 were used to reconstruct his shoulder, which was shattered into 8 pieces in that collision. It really is marvelous to see Chad come back. Long, hard rehab just to get that shoulder in working condition. Never be to remind to be a major league athlete. So another guy I think you have to root for. He's gone through a lot of adversity just to be here in uniform today.
And he works out well as a backup catcher because he's a switch hitter. He can go from both sides of the plate. And he's had big league experience.
A lot of experience.
2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Worrell gets him, but the Dodgers with the 2-out single and then a RBI double have taken the lead. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Los Angeles 2, Orioles 1. Calls it. It'll be Harold Baines and then Howie Clark and Calvin Pickering for the Orioles. So 2 of the guys in this threesome, guys who can put the ball out of the ballpark. Right now the Orioles looking for a base runner to try to tie this ball game. They trail 2-1 bottom of the 9th. One ball and 1 strike. Mike Fetters last year appeared in 27 games for the Orioles. ERA up there at 5.81. Missed nearly 3 months with the strained elbow and then had the surgery. Outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Of course, that split finger pitch of his was his bread and butter.
Right. And to be effective, he has to be ahead in the count to use it.
Hollinsworth running toward the foul line and deep into the corner. And Hollinsworth reaches up and can't make the catch.
Oh, Wynn really got a hold of it. Almost like I had a chance to catch that fair pole.
Yeah, when the ball started out, I think Hollinsworth figured he'd make it 10 feet fair on the grab, but it's just drifting.
Yeah, when you see the outfielder drift like that, that's the ball being caught and carried with the wind. And that gate not shut securely. Just about ended up on field 2.
Yeah, that's a gate that allows the players to pass through the main field out to the practice fields into that big cage they have out there. 3-2 now, way outside the Baines. Over the 4 games, Fetters has worked 4 innings, 3 strikeouts and 1 hit this spring. 3-2 pitch to Baines. And Baines clings to life.
Well, that was the ace swing from Harold. Pretty much counting on a fastball leading off the inning. You know, Fetters does not want to walk the tying run. Took a chance with a fastball down the middle, and Harold just missed it. I think he'll throw another one.
Hollinsworth will have a chance for this one as he drifts near the foul line. Still drifting, but makes the grab in fair ground. So 1 up, 1 down.
Here's that first 3-2 pitch. Harold loaded up right on it. And watch Harold's reaction, saying that was the one. Keep that shoulder in. It just pulled off a little. That caused the foul ball.
Howie Clark comes up now. Clark yesterday singled in a pinch hit role for the Orioles as we tried to find out who he was, and finally did in yesterday's ball game. Hart takes a strike. Howie's 5'10", 195 pounds. Played at Bowie and Rochester last year. Most of the time spent at Rochester. Off the plate to the first baseman Hansen. Fetters will cover and gets the flip for out number 2. And now it's up to the big guy, Calvin Pickering, with 2 down in the bottom of the 9th. The Orioles trailing by a 2-1 count.
Well, and I say go for it, Calvin.
Yep.
Lean back.
The thing that amazes you when you first meet Calvin Pickering is to look at the size of his legs. The thighs are just huge. He often, when I see him, I think of Mo Vaughn. And the stature and the way he stands there at the plate and
the wiggle of the bat,
yeah.
sure.
Well, he was thinking about unloading with that one. Did he go around? Yes, as the third base umpire. As Calvin was thinking, pull the trigger and couldn't stop.
He'll try to get a fastball early in the count before Fetters gets to that forkball. And ready to uncoil.
And strike 2.
And now's a pretty good chance he'll get that forkball.
Derek May would be next, but the Orioles down to their final strike to keep things alive here. 0-2 to Pickering. They trail 2-1. And he strikes out. And it was the splitter. So Mike Fetters getting congratulations from his catcher Chad Kruder, and that's the ball game here in Fort Lauderdale. And we'll be back to wrap it up. Unhappy Mike Hargrove as the Orioles lose to the Dodgers 2-1.
Hey.
Fred Manfra and Mike Flanagan back in Fort Lauderdale as the Orioles drop one 2-1 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Mike, all eyes were on Jose Mercedes today, and he passed the test.
He did not disappoint today, and I think the Orioles haven't scored many runs the last few games. And I think what it is the pitching is catching up with the hitting. Mercedes is pitching for a spot in the club. Tim Morrell doing the same. So there's probably a lot more pressure on the pitching at this point to get it done. And the hitters still have a little bit more time and a lot more bats, I guess, before they have to get ready. But I think pitching is just dominating spring training.
Of course, up I-95 in Jupiter today, Calvin Maduro, who along with Jose Mercedes vying for that number 5 spot of the Orioles rotation. 5 innings of work, 7 hits, 3 runs, 4 strikeouts, a couple of walks, and a hit batsman. Now they have to figure out who will.
Well, what will happen? Sid Thrift will come back and give his report what he saw with his eyes. Never mind the numbers. How did he look? Was he ahead in the count? And they'll have to come to some sort of tough decision here in the next few days.
Well, the Orioles offense has been lacking over the past 5 days. Now,
again, I think we've seen the scores in general go down. 2-1 today. We saw 4-0 up in Port St. Lucie. And yesterday's game, the score was down where 2 weeks ago they were 9-7, 13-10. So pitching is definitely catching up.
Now, how long does this week seem for the players? On April 3rd, the season opens. You have one more week down here. Springtime games, they really don't mean anything. They want to get started.
Right. The ones that have their game together want to be out of here tomorrow. Believe me, they don't want to waste any more at bats down here. They don't want to waste any more base hits. Save them all for opening day. And if you don't have your game together, you've only got a week to do it.
Well, Mike, been a pleasure. We'll see you during the course of the year. And the Orioles drop it here this afternoon to the Los Angeles Dodgers by a 2-1 score. Well, we all at HTF. Well, the next time you'll see a game on HTS, baseball-wise, it'll be the real season as the Orioles get to the year 2000 underway. The next Orioles telecast will be on opening day, Monday, April 3rd on O's TV. Mike Hargrove, former team, will be the Cleveland Indians. They'll parade into Baltimore for the beginning of the 2000 season. Join us for the pregame at 2:30. First pitch scheduled for 3 o'clock. For Mike Flanagan, I'm Fred Manfra. Final score once again, Dodgers 2, Orioles 1. Orioles baseball has been a presentation of CBS Cable, the Baltimore Orioles, and Major League Baseball.